Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to go through a little bit of 40k news, 48 hours worth of 40k news, really. Not on my own. Today, joined by my good friend Chris. Say hello, Chris.
Hello.
And yeah, just quickly recapping on the last couple of interesting tidbits that have come out, really 40k related over the last 48 hours, really. There's been a few. There's been one big one that I know has made a lot of people quite excited. A lot of demon players, particularly, well, maybe and chaos players of all sorts of stripes, really. But we'll go into that. First off, Piety and Pain, the box set between the sisters and the Dakari, more specifically Lilith Horspex, is it? I can never pronounce her name. Hersperax? How would you pronounce that, Chris? Is it Lilith? Yeah, it is Lilith.
Yeah, Lilith Hesperax.
Yeah, they've released the stats basically, and a little bit of I say stats. They've released little snippets of stats for the HQ sister and Lilith herself, and they've also given us a little bit of fluff into the backstory behind the box. It's quite I thought it was quite funny. Basically, they've gone for sort of like a battle, not a battle royale, sort of like a battle arena sort of Hunger Games vibe. Basically, the sisters like fighting a war in the system, and they've come to this city or planet, well, I'm guessing it's city, to recover this like ancient artifact of a saint or something. Some, I don't know, probably some holy bones, because it's always holy bones, isn't it, or some kind of thing like that. And basically, the Dakari Lilith has basically locked the area they're in completely down and turned it into like a death trap and invited all the big hobnobs. Excuse me. Invited all the big hobnobs from the Dark City to come and watch, basically. So it's sort of like a Hunger Games kind of thing, which I thought was it's like a neat little concept. But apart from that, I think when Piety and Pain was first previewed to us some weeks ago, the impression I got from it was a resounding meh, sort of like no one really quite keen on it from the segments of the community that I've obviously kept tabs on. I mean, the biggest draw for this box is the phone is Lilith herself, because obviously brand new. I mean, she was teased a while ago. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything else sort of new. Maybe the Palatine. I think she might also be new. But apart from like those 1/2 main models, there's nothing in this box set that's kind of new. Particularly on the Jakari side, I think these are all like models that are still in general circulation. Obviously, the sisters side have had a full re-release, so they're all relatively new. But yeah, the biggest draw is kind of Lilith. So, I mean, we spoke about this quite recently in one or two videos about pricing and whatnot, and how much you're willing to drop on like a large bundle if you just want one thing out of it. So, I mean, give me what do you reckon, Chris? How much do you reckon this box is going to weigh in? That's probably like.
True. I wouldn't like to say after seeing what some of the pricing has been recently for box sets. This could be anything from maybe a reasonable £60 all the way up to a £100 or something like that.
You're right.
Yeah, it could be anything from that range, really. So I don't know. I suspect it's probably going to be somewhere around. I would place it at a reasonable sort of like £60-65, but I suspect I am under the actual amount. So it's, if I think it should be about 65 quid, it's probably going to be about 90 quid.
I'd probably say you're looking more to the 90 side of things if I had to weigh in. But you've had like Eldari leanings in the past. I mean, I really like the new Lilith model. I think it's she's wearing a lot of leather. She's wearing a lot of leather, and she's got big crazy hair, a bit like Jane's are. So I think crazy hair is kind of like a running theme with most like Eldari sort of Eldari characters. What do you reckon to her?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm neither here or there on her. To be honest, I'm not particularly blown away by the model.
That top knot, though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean
that
that's quite new. Well, sorry, that's quite a nice sort of feature, but it's nothing new. I think I'd probably say, ooh, phone. I'd probably say that Jane Czar was the first to come out with that sort of style of top knot and that sort of. I think
we've
so
got.
anyway. From the new model range, from where it's having this dynamic sort of aerobatic sort of pose. But I don't know. I'm just kind of I'm a little bit meh over it, to be honest. I mean, the stat line I'm not meh over. I think that she is deadly, but yeah, the model I'm not particularly all that fussed for.
She's like, was Jane Czar like jumping off rubble and stuff as well?
Jane's R's kind of more jumping over something, and it's quite a it's a really nice pose because they use the hair basically to have a propped up, so she looks like she's floating in midair. So the hair is ultimately what's connecting with the base, and it's a very very graceful pose. Obviously, you've got everything sort of flows around each other, so it looks like she's doing a lot of spinning in midair. I find, I love the Jane's Arm model. I loved painting it. I was a big fan of that particular model. But yeah, Lilith, I don't know. I don't know a massive amount. I've never really read into the Dark Eldar too much. Lilith, from what I remember hearing about it, is a real nasty piece of work and is a real badass. And I kind of for a model, I was expecting, especially with what's been coming out of late, I was expecting probably something a bit more striking. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not particularly fussed with this.
Well, I mean, from what I've read, I think it's kind of on point, really. I mean, like, she's basically like the best of the best, like, gladiatorial fighter in the Dark City, isn't she? And like, I think it goes into like how like she uses pretty much every part of her body and hair as like a weapon, as you can see, like in the hair there. She's got like hooks and she can like swish her hair out. But there's a lot of big ass 80s sort of like metal band hair going on in the Eldar Dark Eldar
Yeah.
range at the moment with Jinzar and Lilith. But yeah, and obviously it's not just Lilith. You've got the Palatine in there as well. Nice sister there. Got a beads, got a gun, nice little cape.
But again, I mean, that again, when I was sort of looking through this particular release, there was nothing I kind of, she just looks like and that might be just what it's about. That there isn't anything particularly about the sisters' range or in terms of the characters that makes them stand out from one another. But I mean, this character again, there wasn't really anything. Just so now, don't get me wrong, the sculpt is nice, the detail's really nice, but it wasn't really anything to shout about. I don't know how much of a big deal this particular character is. Palatine.
I don't think she's a character.
Is it just a particular? Is that a title or something?
Yeah. I've got to admit, I really do.
It says Palatine Erica Luminous. Yeah.
But I'm guessing that might just be the name of this particular Palatine in the box set.
Yeah.
In the story sort of thing.
Yeah.
I do like the sort of studded mail effect they got going on with a lot of Sisters range. It makes them look like if Space Marines were knights, these guys they'd look like the sort of like armed militia, the well-armed militia kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that boiled studded leather.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like I said, I think the models are really nice. It's not my cup of tea.
No.
Like I find I don't know what it is. There's something about the sort of the style that the sisters go for. It's as well with like the what they call like the torture engines that they have, or I forget what they're called now. The walkers.
Oh, the penitent engines, I think.
That's it. Yeah. Even though they're great models, I'm not a big fan of it. It's like with the Rhino or whatever that particular vehicle's called in the background. Again, the detail on it's amazing, but it's just not my cup of tea.
No.
So yeah.
Well, the Palatine, the Palatine stat line is, it's pretty good. You got to bear in mind that these are basically just humans in power armor. They're not like Space Marines, which are meta humans or superhuman for whatever whatever term of human you want to use. They're just regular gals in really good armor as far as their backstory goes. So you got a movement of 6, weapon skill, ballistic skill 2, which is good. You've got the human strength and toughness of 3, 4 wounds each, which is decent for just a human. 3 attacks, that's pretty good. Leadership 8 and a 3+ save because again, they're equipped with power armor. And you've got Fury of the Righteous, reroll wound rolls of 1 for attacks made by moles of friendly order units where the unit is within the 6th model. So, just a nice generic HQ buff, isn't it? Really, with a pretty stock standard HQ sort of stat line, if you get what I mean. I mean that's kind of like obviously because I play G Steel Cult. Apart from the save, which is a good save, you're not going to go far wrong with that kind of stat line. That's going to be like a I don't know, maybe like a 75-point model. So she isn't going to kick ass and take names, but she's there as kind of like a force multiplier for your army or for things around her.
Yeah, I think from the battle reports I've watched, the sisters they are quite an interesting army. I think it seems to be a bit more of a skilled army. You have to have a little bit more about you. You have to kind of know how to play them. It's not something that you can kind of just. It's not a beginner's army, I should say, if that makes any sense. You can't just breeze through it without really having any sort of plan. There are armies which are more difficult to play, and there are armies which are easier to play because they're simpler, I guess, in terms of the mechanics of them. But they seem quite interesting.
Well, if we're looking at Lilith in a sec now, we're looking at Lilith. It doesn't matter that 3+ power armor save ain't going to save you from it. So Lilith being the tippy top, the alpha predator in the arena of Kamorga. Basically, the Dark City is a place where violence happens a lot, and she's the best at violence. So she's movement 8, so she's fast, weapon skill plus skill 2, obviously. Standard humanoid strength and toughness of 3, wounds 5, attack 7, leadership 8, save 6+, but ignore that save because I know for a fact, I think she's got a 4-up Quicksilver save, or maybe a better invul save built into a profile. Can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I think it is a 4-up invul save she's got, because I remember thinking ages ago, looking at it and go, oh, she's quicker than a Gene Stealer. And Gene Stealers have a lightning fast reflex save, and hers is better. But 7 attacks, though. That's pretty good. And when you combine that with her actual weapons, as you can see there, Lilith's blades, nothing fancy, just sharp knives, I'd imagine. Range type melee, strength +1. So this means she's now going to be hurting your Space Bro on a 4 rather than a 5. -3 AP, so that Space Bro ain't getting a save. Will they? 4, 5? No, they would be 3-up save. Did they get a save for -3? I can't remember. It's a 6-up save they get, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it becomes a 6-up save.
Yeah.
1 damage. So, regular old school Space Bros, 1-hit KO. Probably wouldn't put her up against the new and improved 2-wound Space Bros, but each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit. So you're going to get at least 1 by laws of averages there, aren't you? Maybe 2 6s. So you're going to get, 8, 9 attacks maybe?
Yeah.
Which is really, really good.
It is very good. And then if you combine it with Gory Spectacle, it's absolutely, she's terrifying. She's a terrifying prospect in close combat. So
this is her little special rule: natural perfection. In your command phase, you choose one of the following: thrilling acrobatics until the end of this turn. This model is still eligible to declare a charge, even if it fell back or advance this turn. So, like I say, Lilith, I mean, imagine you got your movement of 8. You can probably advance got some good advancement rolls on there, and then still charge. So she can get to the combat. She can get out of the combat with something she doesn't want to get in combat with, and trying to re-enter with a preferred target. And like you said, Gory Spectacle, in the fight phase of this turn, if this model destroys any enemy models, then at the end of that phase, it can fight again. So if you throw Lilith into a squad of Genestealer cultists, regular neophytes, or regular guardsmen, she's going to fuck them up, probably. Because she's going to be hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s. They ain't going to get a save, and they're going to be dead. So she's going to be, generating extra attacks and fighting twice. She's got a better than shit chance of taking out most of those kind of squads, which is obviously, I think, where the you had this problem as well with Jinzar, didn't you? She's a really good light infantry, regular to light infantry killer, and that's where Lilith is sitting right now. She's no Drazar. She's not going to be kicking around with stupid strength and really good she has got a really good AP, but multiple damage. But she's got weight of attacks, and that -3 AP means no save, and strength 4 means she's going to be chopping into those humanoid stat lines quite nicely. And this is on top of all the other buffs and accoutrements we don't know might come with the Jakari clerks as well, like your combat drugs, your power from pain, how they're ever going to change that, if that's still a thing. Your coven abilities, or your faction abilities. I can imagine she could put in some real good work against guard players, tower players, Genestealer cultists, regular chaos cultists, Astrobilitarum, just regular humanoid toughness strength 3 stat lines, which would be really, really good. So yeah, that's the pleasure and pain sort of preview we've got. Well, I think we had that on Monday. So, we'll have to see when this box set's released at the price range it's released at, how well the community accepts it. But like I say, I think the Lilith model is really good. Bit disappointed that there was nothing else sort of new in the Jakari way there. But yeah, new Lilith, if that Palatine is new, which I think it is, new sister. So I suppose people can fill the boots off that. Now, speaking of new hotness, Lilith and that Palatine weren't the only new models previewed this week, because GW have doing a thing where they call New Model Mondays. Excuse me. On Mondays, they basically preview a new model and show it off to the world. Last week's is something that I can't remember, but this week's, I don't think I'm going to be forgetting about anytime soon. The first Demon Prince, Bellacor. This guy's so good, he's an Age of Sigmar and 40k. That's how good he is. And wow, I gotta say, this model is... in the last couple of videos, we talked about, GW pricing the models, and... God, man, this guy's really good. This guy looks really, really good. I mean, I know you had a little bit of ooh la la moment when you first saw him, didn't you, Chris?
Yeah, I did. I did have to have a bit of a word with myself afterwards. But yeah, he is an exceptionally nice model. He's obviously designed for Chaos Undivided. But I'd be very much interested to see what a lot of hobbyists do to convert him for perhaps the other factions, sub-factions of Chaos. Yeah, I think he's a really, really, really nice model. I mean, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to kind of flip him over for to Khorne in terms of the way he looks, and to use him as a demon prince or greater demon. But yeah, beautiful model. Again, I've got to clap GW for and the design team for producing this one. It really is absolutely outstanding. I reckon this could well be, I mean, who knows what's coming out after this, but this is definitely a contender for model of the year.
It is, isn't it? I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking if this came out in the same, last year they did the best model of 2020. If Gazgul had to contend against this, because I voted Gazgul #1 best model of that year, I'd be like, oh, I don't know. I mean, Bellacor looks pretty sick, doesn't he?
Yeah, there'd be no question in my mind. Bellacor would definitely take the crown from Gazgul. I think it's not just the model itself and the detail that's gone into it. I mean, the sword design, that seems to be, again, yet another improvement on that sort of effect compared to other models that we've had over the last couple of years. It seems, be amazing. I quite like the effect that they've got coming off the corpses, depending whether you want to go Age of Sigmar or 40k, where it looks like obviously the essence of the thing it's just killed has been sort of drained away from it into him.
I thought that was the where like the sword had struck him. It's like a kind of like a burning sort of
potentially
thing on them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought it was the soul, or like I said, the essence or whatever it is, kind of being sucked out of them. But it could just be, like you say, it could, because I think it's a sorcerer's sword. I think I remember reading in the article for it. It's incredible. The base that he's on, that I mean, that on its own is quite nice in terms of just it's like a throne for him. He really does stand out, and I think this is such a nice addition for Chaos Undivided, because obviously they've got Abaddon, but in terms of from like a demon perspective, they don't really have a lot. I don't think. I know they can obviously take from the other factions, but anything dedicated to Undivided.
I mean, this may sound weird, but he looks thick. He looks dense. I don't know what it is. Just
do
like
you
the paint
mean
scheme.
stupid?
No. I mean, like it's a lot to do with the paint scheme, but that kind of obsidian black sort of. He looks like he's carved out of like a sort of like a. I don't want to say he doesn't. It doesn't look. He looks like more than reptilian, because obviously demon princes. He's got that kind of like scale thing going on, but he looks like he's carved out like an obsidian stone. If you get what I mean.
Yeah,
And
I
it
know
looks
what you mean,
it looks really, really nice. There's not an inch of this model that's not got some sort of like dripping detail on it. I mean, if my eyes wander all over it, I mean they've livened up the wings with obviously the skulls and the chains and the different heirlooms depending on which gaming system you're playing for. Either you've got Space Marine helmets there for your 40k, and I'm sure you've got Age of Sigmar stuff on the other one. The sword, it looks fantastic. Again, really got to put a lot of this down to the actual paint job that's showing off in this model. The armor, the little bits of armor he's got on him is fucking insanely detailed. But yeah, there's not an inch of this model that's not dripping in detail.
I think looking at it, honestly, one of my favorite parts of it, I think you've got to say the sword's absolutely incredible, and the effect that's going on there. And like you say, a lot of this and how impressive it is does come down to the paint job. But in terms of like favorite parts of the model, in terms of detail, for me, I'd say top 3 parts. I'd say number 1 is the base, what he's standing on. It's just something about it that it just makes him stand out even more. It makes him seem quite. It's like a throne. It's like a rock throne, isn't it, for him? So yeah, I love the base. The second probably would be the sword, and then I'm a big fan of the head. His actual facial expression, everything. Again, comes down to a lot of the paint job and how they've managed to get that glow effect from the eyes and the mouth. But yeah, it's an awesome model. Definitely tempted myself to pick him up and convert him into a usable demon prince for Khorne or something like that in due course. I'll hold off and see what other people do with him first to try and get some ideas. But yeah, he's beautiful.
Oh, I'm willing to bet that the community, when they get hold of him, are going to do some amazing conversions, some amazing paint jobs. But we'll just have to wait and see. The last bit of news I want to touch on, it's nothing major. It's nothing that's not like Bellacor new model or going into depth with not in depth, getting snippets of rules and stuff like the Piety and Pain box set. I think that's what it's called. It's basically GW. I think this is I think this would be a good tool for people looking into the hobby. GW have basically updated the Warhammer 40,000 website. Now, if you didn't know, obviously you've got the community website, which is where we get the majority of the GW related news. But the Warhammer 40,000 website, so it was pulled through the community page to get to there. It's basically a big advertising page for Warhammer 40k, and they've done a really, really good job of it. If I'm honest with you, I mean, it's got. If you're an outsider looking into 40k and you want to know what the crack is with it, it's got. I think it's got everything you need on there. It's got the basics for rules. Obviously, it's got sub factions there. You got collect, build, paint, play, read, game, watch. But the thing that I love most about this particular website and what they've done here, because I've always said, like, if your army tells a good story or you get drawn into the narrative of it, you enjoy the hobby a lot more. As I say, I immensely enjoy the story, the story and the lore behind the Tyranids and the Genesteal cult, because they're the two armies I play, and it's a big draw for me to the hobby. And they've done it so basically they've expanded the faction rotor on there, so now they've got pretty much all the factions available to 40k on there. I think there might be still one or two well, I think they all are on there. So they've made it super user friendly. So, like, say for me, for instance, if I was just getting into the hobby, if I'm interested in Tyranids, click on the Tyranid tab. You've got basically a blurb piece about the Tyranids, a link to the shop, multiple images, multiple art images there, and I encourage people to look at those pieces of art they've done, because there's some of that I've never seen before, or it's been so long I've seen, must have forgotten about them. And then it breaks it down into sub factions for your particular grand faction where you want to play. So obviously you've got your different high fleets if you're doing Tyranids again. Shows you the color scheme of the models, and it gives you a little bit of blurb into that particular sub faction, what their deal is. And and on top of that, you've also got like an interactive map of the 40k galaxy, so you can see all the goings on and all the notable events of the particular faction you're looking at and how it impacts the galaxy, which I think's it's that kind of like interactivity sort of community tool that would really draw someone who doesn't know what 40k is. It's like leaving the door open for them, and it's giving him like a good invitation to the hobby, I think. I mean, I don't know if you had a chance to look through it, Chris. Look through any of the new little toys on there.
Only really in the background, and because to be honest, I hadn't looked at it, this particular website, in quite some time. Obviously, when they first announced it back at the start of 9th, was 9th? Was it? Oh no, it was before 9th was announced, wasn't it? It was when they rebranded the logo and everything, wasn't it? How long ago? I've completely lost track of time. But yeah, it seems to be quite. It's definitely an improvement on what it was before. It was severely lacking in content before, but now, as you say, there's a lot there to try and sort of dive into. And yeah, if you're curious about it and you want to try and figure out what it is that you might want to collect, I think it's a really good starting point.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, really good. Well, it's basically there to kind of get you into Warhammer 40k, and I think it does its job. It does its job really, really well. But yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. Like I say, it was hopefully a quickish sort of news update and a little bit of waffling on from us. But let us know what you think in the comments below. What do you think of the Piety and Pain box set, the new updates they've done to the community site, the Warhammer 40,000 site, and the new hotness that is Bellacor. Tell us your thoughts on that. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Leave your thoughts and your ramblings in the comment section below. But till next time, me and Chris will catch you later. See you later.
See you later.